So I'll start. I admire, you're my big sister. You've always been there for all of us. And I can't tell you how much that has meant to me over my whole lifetime. It makes me cry to think about it. How much you took care of Dad's estate and Mom's estate, and how diplomatic you always were, and you always cared about each one of us and how we would react and feel, and yet the combination of your compassion and your smartness and your acumen and what was right, it's just always been something for me to look up to, and I just can't be grateful enough for all you've done for all of us as a family. And on a personal level, I always felt like you looked after me.
I did.
You did. And especially when I was a teenager.
I felt like you needed it.
Yeah.
She did.
I did.
She really
Well,
did.
I felt like she and Jackie needed protection.
Yeah.
We know.
But the way you did that was to make me part of your life, to bring me out of the home and into your home and be with your kids. I babysat a lot for your kids, and that was just tremendous. The only time that I think I really pissed you off is when we'd go to dinner, the four of us, you and Lauren, Lisa, and me, and they think I was one of your children.
Yeah, that would
That might have made you a little-
I can understand that.
At the Broken Drum, I remember.
Oh, the broken
no.
drum.
No, she's not my daughter. She's my sister.
The broken drum. Do you all remember that?
That name's familiar.
Yeah.
You can't beat it.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's right. Where was that?
There's only one left now of the old places. That Broken Drum lasted for a long time after we
So
graduated.
Joyce, what's the age difference between you and Jill?
Oh my God.
Ask me, because just how many years.
The math.
Yeah.
Joan, what's the age difference between you?
I know what it is.
I know what it is.
Wait a minute.
You gotta go ahead.
Joan, you can do this, Joan. You can do it.
It'll take me a while.
Order, pencil, and paper.
Yeah, or
Age difference
I'm
between
born
her
in
and Jill.
49, and you
what's
were
your age
33.
now?
My birthday, I'll be 70.
How old are you, Joyce? 16
And
years.
you're 85 now.
84, 85.
So 15 years difference.
Not
16.
You guys are all
Well,
alike.
right now it's 15.
We're talking about.
Mother was having children almost every other year.
All
Yeah.
whole life.
Jerry was 18 years older than me.
Remember that? Oh my God. Poor mother.
What was that?
Well, she had a break after me. So Jill being 15 years younger.
Judy and Jackie. How many years are there between you two?
8 years before she had Jackie, so she had
That
a
was her
nice
break.
there.
Well, it wasn't a break.
That was quite a break.
A break in time, but she still had four children to take care of, plus
But
dad.
then they purposely wanted to have a second one because they didn't want to have a child by
Yeah,
itself.
I wouldn't want
No,
to
no,
spoil
no.
that.
They did that on purpose. I remember them telling me that when they decided that their mother
But they
agreed.
little
To have
little
another
thought for what
child.
she felt.
Yeah, they didn't care what I felt. What I was.
Or what you felt.
That's kind of like what Sean said about his parents when they told him he was going to have a little brother, and he was a young boy, and he said, Sean, my Otto's husband, he said, you never asked me. It's serious, you know. You didn't ask me,
Yeah.
but you wasn't sure you wanted a brother or sister. Well, anyhow, that's
So she was 15.
Parents are answer
She was
too.
15 years younger than you when they thought she might be your daughter. That's what you're saying.
What? Somebody thought Jill might be my daughter?
When we were at the Broken Drum restaurant, they said something about, well, it's nice to see you with your children, or something like that. To that effect. And you were really insulted.
Well, you were a cute little girl.
Were you a cute little girl?
She was a cute little girl. Really. Carl can tell you how much he liked Jill when he'd come over and court me and Jill.
run and hug, hug Carl.
Makes me bring the whole length of the hog. Bam, like that.
Really.
I remember talking on the phone, you guys as boyfriends would call, Jackie and I would answer, and sometimes
You listen in.
No, they'd think we were you. You know?
And you hoped they did.
No, but we thought it was a good game to play.
Sure.
Well, the two of you played that game pretty well. Pretending to be the date for.
Oh, Joan and I? Oh, well, that's a whole other story.
That's another
We're
story.
talking about Joyce tonight.
No.
Yeah.
Joyce didn't do anything wrong. Joyce was
Thank you,
perfectly
Judy.
wrong.
You got my back there. Thank you, dear.
We won't mention the Lear family.
The Lear
Oh,
family.
God. I heard about.
Okay, so
Okay.
who's next?
Jackie,
That's anything to
About
say.
Jackie. I mean, about Joycey.
Yeah, I don't want to hear all that.
Too bad.
Let's move along.
Well, I want to be right where Sadie is right.
I feel so grateful to have so many sisters.
you do?
Oh, you don't always feel that way. You've always said recently, can you just imagine having this many sisters and knowing this much about your life?
Remember when we'd rub each other's back? And
Well, that's why we got
Comb
this
each
guy.
other's hair.
remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we missed
We
out,
brushed
yeah.
each other's hair, combed bats. Laying on the living room floor, we would scratch backs.
I remember that up in the bedroom. Upstairs in 225, they had double beds.
Right.
We'd sleep there and rub each other's back.
I'm
I
going to
remember Jerry particularly. She had a name for everything. Like if
Pepper
she wanted to
salt.
scratch a certain way, she'd say pickle or something like
Really?
that.
We had salt.
Yeah.
We had salt and pepper. I know that.
Yeah.
The salt and pepper combined was.
We had names
Slow
for
and
every kind of
fast.
I've
scratch.
never heard that.
You just have forgotten because we were young.
I'll read you what Linda said. She said something
Oh,
about you. She says,
oh, Linda.
um,
You're not right.
she's
There's blanks over there. Get back there by the
okay.
picture.
She's always been good to us. She shared second-hand nice clothes with me. She offered a necklace.
There.
She let me in her house and condo. I let her in my condo with Tway. She wrote some thank you return cards after I sent picture collages with newsletters, and let Tway buy food for me once at International House of Pancakes. She included me in Tway's memorial and let me come to some family reunions. She says, but one time I called Joyce and Tway long distance, and they had so many questions for me on my bill that, and once they said they'd call me back, but they didn't. Anyway, she says, I have a relative, Mrs. Eleanor Owens. I told a relative, Mrs. Eleanor Nolan, that's a good friend of Linda's, was a mixed bag. The relative replied something like, well, everybody is. I guess
Everybody what?
is a mixed bag.
Oh.
I guess everybody is but Jesus. And whatever the angels are is. That's what she said.
Oh,
Yes. And I just wanted to remember
she's so sweet.
that, how did this go? Oh, yeah. Dad had one of his big porterhouse steak dinners for all of his friends, his and mother's friends.
At the resort?
No, at home
25?
on 14th Street, and I must have been in junior high or high school. And Dad was in the kitchen doing something about the meal. And he told, I don't know what I did, but must have said or did something that really upset him. So he went out in the garage and got my bike and brought it in the kitchen. And
Your
he
bike?
Said, my bike. He brought my bike in the kitchen where I was, and he says, now you can get out of here. And you were standing there.
I don't remember that, Joe.
Yeah, and you were standing in the kitchen, and you said, oh, where will you go? And you were just so kind and thoughtful. And
Did
anyway,
I talk up to Dad?
no, you said to me, where will I go? You wondered where I would
Where
go.
will you go, she said.
Where
That
will
was
I
the
go?
way you were.
Yeah.
Yeah, when
What she
Dad told
said
me to
you
get out of the
was, where will you
house.
go?
And
Yeah.
she said to me, Joyce said to me with all kindness, where will you go? And anyway, I just sort of brushed Dad off because I knew he had been, you know what, and
Drinking.
yeah. But anyway, it just stands out to me that my sister was there,
She had
you know, to help me out there, and I also remember, of course, what a wonderful executor you were, where you were so fair, overseeing everything and trying to do the right things for our parents, and in no way putting yourself forward. Yes, I do remember that. And then finally, not the last thing, but I just want to repeat what Jill said. You're so generous. And one particular time, I remember you and Tway invited our family to Olivera Street, and you bought each of our little girls one of those white, pretty blouses that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, you bought those for us. We were. This is really a nice gift. So,
Always very generous.
you're very generous. And I just bring it up to date. This last Christmas, you sent us a check to our family. Remember that? You sent a check to
Yeah, so
the
you
Vespers.
divided it between your girls.
Five was $50, and I divided it 5 ways, so that, and we only have 4 girls, so each daughter, and Carl and I, could have a
$10.
share of it. And when I gave Linda hers, she says, the Bible says you do not take money from widows. So I have to give you back. This is Linda's $10.
Did she give it back to me?
She wouldn't take it. And so, anyway, that's what that is.
I remember her
Yeah.
saying that.
So that's yours. And
I think the Bible says that you don't do that.
you don't take, right. Yeah, and the Bible said one other thing that made me think of you. Well, and the Bible has this statement, in her tongue is the law of kindness. And I thought of you when I read that.
Linda said that?
No, the Bible says that.
Oh.
In her tongue is the law of kindness. And that's in Proverbs. Yeah, that's Joyce, to my mind.
Do you remember doing the hula down at Trader Vic's just not too long ago, 2 or 3 years ago? Wasn't that fun?
Or with Emily and
With Joan.
remember?
Oh, the 2 of us, when you treated all of us
Yeah,
to
we went to Trader Vic's
a day trip.
in Brazil or
Yeah.
wherever it was.
That was fun.
And they had hula girls dancing, and
They were
they got
teaching
everybody
you
up to hula, and Joan hula.
And you
Did you do
hula.
it too, Joyce? Did you hula?
Yeah, I didn't do it
Yes, you did.
alone.
I have a good picture of that somewhere.
And so this is what I wrote. Throughout my adult life, Joyce has always had my back. We were best friends for many years. She was Jim's second mother during his childhood.
She was what?
His second mother
Yeah.
during his childhood. Every year he flew to California to be with Joyce and Tway. They gave him his first trip to the ocean. Lisa and her husband taught him how to ride a bicycle.
Oh, really?
We were together in 1963 when her dear Jim became ill. She always showed much love and kindness to my daughters also. As young girls, they had many memorable times with her. When I was in distress upon learning of my husband Dan's true self, Joyce flew to me in Kansas for love and support. Our closeness over all the years has always been consistent and loving. Another gift from Joyce was my first and only cruise on December 13th to the Mexican Riviera.
Your first and only what?
Cruise.
Oh, cruise, yeah.
Jill and I shared a balcony room which was connected to Joyce by our adjoining balconies. It was amazing. Joyce has always generously shared her good fortunes. A surprise 70th birthday party for our mother. Mom's friends came too. Mom was so surprised and grateful. I'm happy she was also to help celebrate Jill's birthday, 70th birthday, which is this week. Joyce let me wear her wedding dress to my senior prom.
Oh,
Really?
Her love and giving nature has always been a part of who she is. I feel truly blessed to have had this sister throughout my entire life.
Was the wedding dress the one I made for my senior prom?
Maybe it was. I wore it to my, whatever, I thought it was your wedding dress.
Did
that
you
I
wear
wore to my
a jacket? Did it have a little?
No. Well, I don't remember because it was my prom. I just remember that it was a dress you had, and I thought it was your wedding dress. But maybe it was. What year were you and Jim married?
Yeah, I made my own dress. I had a little dress.
What
I
year
made
were
it
you
for my
married?
senior prom, and then when I got married, I just made a little jacket to wear
Okay.
over because it was.
I believe that
Wow.
that's the dress I was
Yeah,
about to
I
wear.
didn't know you did that.
She could sew like crazy.
Yeah.
Well, we couldn't afford it.
She did a lot of sewing and
But it was a white dress?
played the
It was a
piano.
light and blue. Yeah.
And played the piano.
You
She-
made our
Yeah.
dress.
Yeah.
You made our dresses, Jackie's and mine, right?
Sometimes.
Your little dresses.
The
Yeah.
blue dresses with the maroon kind of bows on them.
Do you remember ever hearing her play the piano and Jerry singing?
And Jerry singing. Oh
Remember
my
that,
gosh.
Joan?
Her voice was so
She
beautiful.
loved,
Clear.
oh yeah, Joyce played the piano and Jerry in the living room and Jerry sang. Jerry wanted to be an opera singer.
Sure. So
She had
her
a
voice
yeah,
was beautiful.
beautiful voice.
And of course, Ralph made you do that. to entertain.
Oh, whenever anybody come, he'd say, "Now, Jerry, you sing and Joyce, you play." It took all the joy kind of out of it to be made to do it, you know.
Well, and then of course he wanted to play the Mockingbird.
Listen to the Mockingbird.
Listen to the Mockingbird.
Oh my God. Anyway.
So
Anyway, Joycey, the
maybe
point
Paul
is
came
that
up with
you have
something.
been always so special to me
Did you come up with anything?
with our children.
Oh, your Jim was so wonderful.
Jim just loved you. Loved you.
Play, yeah.
He started flying by himself to see you when he was 5 years old.
Well,
And at the airport, there were all these people, and there was a long delay. And Jimmy was walking around, and he said, "I'm getting pissed up." And everybody started laughing.
He's your son.
It's like when Jill and I don't know who it was, Bill or Nick. I think it was Nick, but I'm not sure. Went to the Trail Dust restaurant in Littleton, Colorado, and Jimmy was a little boy. He was about 5 or 6, and they have a slide in the restaurant. And kids are lined up to go on it.
Really?
Jimmy gets on
In the
steps.
restaurant?
Yeah, in the restaurant. Remember that? Where they cut off men's ties and
Right.
put them. Anyhow, so here's Jimmy, a line full of kids, maybe 10, 11 years old, going around all of them up the ladder, and some kid said something to him, and we could hear Jimmy holler, "You're not my boss, bucko." And he went on up and went down the aisle. We sat there just laughing our heads off. So proud. It was some TV show for kids had bucko on it. "You're not my boss, bucko." And down he went.
Do you remember him up at the lake with the, I don't know.
Oh,
where
Lake Tahoe, yes, I do.
When it got so
When he got so
cold.
sick. Yes,
Oh,
that was scary. He got hypothermia in that water. He was hallucinating. He didn't even know who I was.
the water was so cold and he wanted to swim and it was such a cold
It was
lake.
in when we went to bed.
He went right in, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I was scared.
That
were
just
all
happened.
scared.
That was at Lake Tahoe.
Yeah. And Mother, Joyce, always. And that's the other thing about you, Joyce, that I think is so beautiful that you had the opportunity to do this for Mother, because when Dad died, you and Tway, as far as I know, invited her to join you on travel that you were doing, whether it was to another country.
Clay was
And
wonderful
she
about that.
loved that. And I'm so grateful that she had those
She had
times.
that.
Yeah.
And you always included her. Always.
We always tried to. I can remember when we went on a trip to Yugoslavia,
Yeah.
well, and they had a game room down in the basement. Mother wanted to go down because they were playing poker for 21. And this was in Yugoslavia. We didn't know anything about it. She said, she went down and she said she wanted to play and there was nobody else to play with her. So she said, I'll pay and play 2 hands because they had to have a minimum of 2 players. So she said she'd put money forward and I'll play 2 hands. The dealer can deal to each of us. And she won. I mean, she was just amazing.
How good for her.
Yeah, our mother.
Yeah.
I wonder
Is
where we
something
got
here
that
you're
from.
allergic to?
Huh?
I think I'm allergic to the dog.
Really?
To what?
Yeah.
Flowers.
I don't know.
Maybe by the, not those
Have
kind
you
of
ever been
flowers.
around dogs?
She's supposed to be hypoallergenic, little hair.
I don't know.
Maybe
Anyway.
it's something you've had.
Those ones
Maybe
probably.
It could be one of the
Poinsettias.
What?
You're right by the poinsettias. Would they bother
I
you?
don't think so. Well, anyway, that's okay.
Huh.
So anyway, we'll be going along unless are there more? That, like, is Carl going to say a memory? Or,
Oh, wonderful memories of mother. Dad.
You always were the one that shared, you more than any of the rest of us shared a lot with Mother because you lived nearby.
That's right.
And she
Well,
shared
Tway
with
was
you.
so open about it.
And Tway was open.
Yeah.
But you were the only one
But
living
you, when you had young kids and you were married to Jim.
We were very fortunate to live nearby.
Yeah, for all of you, but you always were there for her and you took care of her. I always felt comfortable that you were there with her. It allowed me not to have to
Not
rush
to
off
worry
work.
about it.
Yeah, it did, honestly.
But
I
it
always
was a
trusted
great
you.
advantage for us to live near
Yeah,
her.
I know.
And she was always so worried about her dog. What was her dog?
Julie.
Julie.
That's the last thing she was saying before she
She
died.
was worried about Julie.
That's who she was calling for, was
Yeah.
Julie.
But you
Really?
always looked after her. You were the guardian in my opinion. And I appreciate
Well,
it.
that's because we live here.
I know, but you did it.
And Clay loved
You were
her.
the one
Yeah.
of the family.
I think having Tway feel that affection made a
Oh,
big
he was
difference
just
too.
crazy about it.
She was easy for the sons-in-laws too.
Yeah.
You know?
She
Oh, they all continued to love her.
She
even
loved
after they
her
were no longer.
sons-in-law.
Yeah, she didn't want,
Because
she
she had
didn't want
all
boys,
these
but
girls
she
with
was
those
happy to have
boys.
sons-in-laws.
They'd stop by
And to have a
see her after they
grandson.
went.
yeah.
You know, they stayed friends
Divorces.
with her.
Long after they were friends with their
That's
exes.
correct.
Yeah, they were.
She was just so much fun.
You've also been the one that's taking care, overseeing all of your sisters whenever anybody needed backup of any kind. You were there for all of us, and you've done that with your kids more than any of us. I think you've been the mother, the grandmother, the aunt. You
I just
stepped
remember
in.
the particular time with Jill when she wanted to go off to college in Colorado. Dad didn't want her to go.
You
Remember
didn't?
that?
And so what happened?
Well, I had a nice talk with him about being able to trust his daughter and his daughter's
You had a private
judgment.
talk.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You stepped in to look after each
And
of us.
then you did go off and
Yeah.
live your own life. But
How did
was
he
worried
react
about it.
when you talked to him about that?
I don't know. I remember doing it. I remember the restaurant where we sat together and talked about it.
Interesting.
And I think he really listened.
Oh, he must have.
Yeah.
He had a lot of respect for you. I
Well-
always knew that Dad thought you had very sound judgment. I remember him even saying
Dad
that.
thought,
Yes,
I
that
don't
Joyce had very sound judgment.
well, if I know Mother thought.
I don't know about that. Lots of things that aren't pleasant memories.
Right. But I'm not thinking about those.
But you were the trusted one. You know, you were maybe the executor because they trusted.
Well, that's because I was there. Jerry wasn't there. So
Right,
she
but
couldn't
you
do
were
it,
there.
so I was the next
But that
one.
all fits, I know, but it's not just that.
Yeah, well, it was very,
You can say that, Joyce.
how helpful everyone is. I remember Joe organizing all the
Inventory.
mother's house. And who was going to organize all the meals and stuff.
Well, that was it. You were a good manager. And you
Well,
got
we were
You
everybody.
knew how to
I
delegate.
just wanted everybody to have a job.
Yeah.
We,
We
because
each had a night
I
that
just
dinner
said, I
was
can't
ours.
do all this, so you each have to help in your
Uh-huh.
own way. And you handle the real estate.
Yeah, but I'm talking that week we all were together doing the inventory. We each had a night to plan dinner and go
Oh,
get
yeah.
it and all
Oh, is that how we did
And then
that?
at the end, we all went out to dinner.
But you're the one that kept us all together and organized that in a loose enough way that we could all still function. I think you're responsible for that week after.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was one of our a proud week we should all have in
I feel
mind,
that
is
way
that we
too,
all
Joyce.
did that together.
Yeah,
And we should all feel good about that.
I wish we had made a manual for other people to follow.
Yeah.
because I'm proud of
It
that.
was a difficult time, and I think we handled it well.
And it could have been so much worse. We could have just been on each other.
And
bothering
Shana
you.
was there.
Afterwards, Shana,
Yeah.
no was already.
Yeah, it was quite a time.
Yeah, I don't think there's too many families that go through it as smoothly as
Yeah.
we did. And, you know, you
We
hear
all kept the
families
higher
fighting
goal.
and separating and all of that at the time of a death because they don't agree on anything.
Or there's so many underlying agendas.
You know,
You know,
whatever.
get in
I
the
just
way.
think it's very unusual.
Do you think it was a good experience?
What?
Do you think it was a good time for us all?
Yeah. I do.
We always made sure we had a consensus, you know, an agreement.
Yeah.
Even with disagreements, we resolved them and kept going forward, and I don't think that that's a common thing.
We all, first, thanks to Joan, we had to define consensus and all agree that that's what
Oh.
our goal was.
That's right.
Yeah. That was a good working way to do it. I think my dear husband is going to honk, so did you want to
That's all
ask
right.
him
You
if
can
he
push
had
that
to
chair back.
contribute anything?
There's a handle on the side of that
Yes,
chair you can lean the back on.
Yeah, he's
I'm
got,
okay. I'm
yeah,
not
okay.
talking.
That,
Do you have anything to contribute?
for Joyce?
Now, what did you think marrying into this family of girls?
I had a question though that I was thinking about with regard to Joan. You had two big sisters, Jerry and Joyce, and I just wonder, was there ever a older sister and younger sister relationship there that was special for you? I sort of don't think it happened with our girls. Karen and Linda never sort of, well, you must say mothered or something.
Even when they were young.
And I just wondered if it was, if you with your older sisters were like Holly with her older sisters.
I don't quite get what you're saying.
Well, you had two older sisters. You had
Uh-huh.
parents and then you had older sisters. And,
Uh-huh.
well, think of Holly, how Holly kind of adopted Nancy almost.
She was an older sister.
Yeah.
Oh, Nancy just worshipped Holly.
Yeah, and Holly was just like in charge of Nancy. We didn't appoint it or anything. It just worked out that way. And I just wondered if you
I
ever
wondered
had
if you had that relationship.
that kind of
with your
experience
girls.
with your two older sisters, Joyce and Jerry.
I don't think we did.
I don't think so. I know I told you how Jerry introduced me to radio mystery stories when in
really?
Detroit, and she would.
I love it.
There's a picture actually of us sitting on a little chair together, and Jerry said, "Let's turn out the lights and listen to the mysteries with the lights out." You know, I thought that was so neat. But that little kind of thing. Jerry had her interesting ideas, didn't she? I mean, she did some creative things like that. Yeah.
Well, when we were growing up too on the radio, there were mysteries
Yeah.
and sagas and things, and that's what you do on Saturday morning was listen to the radio.
much television.
Yeah, and then go down to the Aero Theater and watch a Western or something and
A double feature and
scenes
a
going
cartoon,
on
yeah.
during the war or whatever.
Or watch, what's that,
You remember that
Oklahoma?
Western theater downtown
Oh, yeah.
Santa Monica?
Oh,
that
we
had
touched
lots-
it.
Hitching post.
The
The
Hitching Post,
that
that's
was
what
the
it
name
was.
of it.
Yeah, you had a,
And there was a Criterion and a Majestic.
Did your
and
family
a-
like that,
you-
Carl?
No, but I had to check my cat pistol when I went in there.
You had a what?
You had to check it. You had to leave your cat pistol at the door or someplace. You know, like you would check your hat or your coat.
This was
Yeah,
what was the hitching post? What was it?
Cat pistol.
Yeah, it was the Hitching
What was
Post.
it?
It was a Western, it's where Dad wanted to
It
go.
was a
because
theater that just
all
showed
they showed
Western.
was
Hopalong Cassidy.
Dad loved John Wayne.
John Wayne, yeah.
And I just remember Jerry loved Frank Sinatra.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And Jerry collected in her time the
Photographs.
Playboy magazine or Photo Play, maybe
Oh,
it was
she and I
Photo Play, I
collected
guess
all
it
the
was,
things,
not
all the
Playboy.
stars and
And
the
she'd
stars.
cut out one whole page would be a single, like 8x10 picture of a movie
She
star.
kept it in the bottom
And
drawer
you
of that
could collect
dresser.
them, and
You
then
don't
you
touch
could
it.
trade them with
Oh,
other
that's what we
kids.
did all the time.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, John?
I remember Jerry doing that, and, yeah, and
Did you do it too, Joyce?
I don't
Yeah.
remember, I don't
Good.
remember you doing, I remember you with your little baby dolls that you, little baby doll that you nursed. I mean, like Mother had Jackie, and so Joycey had a doll that she'd pull out from under the bed and have it on a feeding schedule. You did, you had it, just like Jackie was on a feeding schedule with Mother, so Joycey had her doll on a feeding schedule, and I was,
at 12 when I was born.
yeah, and I was sharing a room, and so the middle of the night, Joyce'd wake up to feed her doll.
What?
She did. You had this regular schedule. That was
Oh,
really
Joyce.
sweet. You were so.
I never heard
Like
that.
13
That's really
or-
sweet.
It was really sweet. She was just very maternal. Yeah. That was cute.
I remember you being in a bassinet.
I remember
Someone
that.
said,
In your bedroom.
I think we better move on. Unless did you have any other memories of Joycey in particular?
Well, yeah, I mean, it really impressed and kind of wowed me the way that Joyce carried on after Jenny dropped out of the picture with her two daughters and raising them. And they were so nice and that. It just looked like that was really a lot to do.
it wasn't easy.
Yeah, and it always seemed really harmonious, and the girls were good with each other, and nice as everybody else too, and it just seemed like you really did a superb job with them, all on your own.
I was lucky one night that they all turned out all right.
That's not like Joyce. You worked hard. You
Well,
worked hard at that.
It wasn't easy at times. But I was very fortunate. One of the things that I was very fortunate was that Judy's husband, Dick's mother, came and lived with us
Really?
to help me take care of Laura and Lisa. And she was wonderful to have.
Was this in Costa Mesa or?
In Orange County, yeah. Where I lived.
In Santa Monica, too.
No, I don't think Sylvia would look like Santa Monica.
No, I don't think
Well,
so.
how did you and I get to know Sylvia?
She was on the same street, was it 22nd Street?
26.
Oh, Sylvia went up to I don't remember that.
Well,
What? I can't hear
They're
you.
saying that Sylvia, Dick's mom,
Yeah.
followed you on up when you moved to Santa Monica and was still living with you. I didn't know she stayed
So
with you.
Jill
that
and I
long.
knew Sylvia, so how, and I was around. Remember her saying, could you go to,
She lived with us in Orange, and then I forget where she moved to.
She didn't move to Santa Monica with you.
Girls were older then, and I had a babysitter, an older woman, who came in the mornings to get them off to school. And I worked for a brokerage firm that got out at 3:30,
In
so I
Santa
could
Monica?
be home. Yeah, when they got home from school, I would be home. So they had sit her in the morning, and then I would be there.
And when Jim died, they were just 5 and 2, weren't they?
2 and 5, yeah. Yeah, those girls.
I think, Sylvia, maybe you went down to Joyce's and that's how you knew Sylvia.
I don't remember that she went up there.
You knew Sylvia, Jackie? And wasn't that when she was helping me? Yeah, she was a godsend. I mean, she really
They
was.
loved her. She baked the cookies and the cinnamon rolls that they loved so
Oh my
much.
God, she was wonderful.
What's the cinnamon?
Where did the
for that?
girls go to school?
What?
Where did the girls go to school?
Oh, not too far away. They went to Cap grade school in Orange, and junior high and high school, Irvine High School. We were at Franklin for a while. Where? Oh, Franklin? Yeah. We lived on 16th Street. There was a dividing line right down the middle.
Oh, they were
of the
still
street.
in high
Some
school
kids went to Roosevelt and some kids went to Franklin, and we were on the side of the street that went to Franklin.
Franklin was Miss Spencer.
But they went
She-
to high
she-
school.
In Irvine.
No, they went to high school
In Arcadia.
in Arcadia.
Oh, in Arcadia, yeah.
But Laura Laura was in Lincoln for a while.
Lincoln Junior High?
Because that's when Cabot and I lived
Santa
next door to
Monica.
you. Laura was, how old was she? Maybe it was before she went to Lincoln, but she was teen or preteen.
That was the
Next door.
couch then too, to help Jackie next door to us.
Yeah, with,
Probably partly.
Well, it was wonderful living at the time.
Yeah, they taught.
how did that happen, that you lived right next door to them?
Well,
Who had lived there first?
Joyce lived there,
I had rented the house.
and then Cabot and I had to move down from San Francisco because he graduated dental school and was going to USC orthodontist school. And there was an apartment, a duplex next to Joyce for rent.
So it wasn't in the place she was at. It was a separate.
She was in a house, and we were in the duplex next door on 26th or 25th, across from that park, the flying.
A wonderful park.
Yeah.
And so you both commuted, you and Cabot commuted to USC?
Well, yeah, it was 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Fluffy. Flufford. Get out the door and go run in the park.
Was that your dog?
Oh, was her dog with those ear, black and white little things?
Oh my God.
Flying,
Yeah,
fluffy.
across the park, yeah.
She'd get out the door and just, or he would just run.
Or up Wilshire
And
Boulevard.
then there'd be an alarm between our houses. Fluffy's out! Lisa left
Would
the
you
door
hold this for a
open.
second while I do
Chase
that
it.
thing? And it's still going.
Oh, sure.
It was great for us, for me, to be married.
For all of
Big
us,
sister.
yeah. We all helped each other.
Well, that's true, but I just don't want you to deny what most of us are saying, that in our lives, you helped us. You know, you've always played that role of being a stable, loving influence. Support us.
I do remember feeling sort of a responsibility of being able to stick around.
Yeah.
But Jared was in Colorado,
Yeah, you took that seriously.
and I worried about it.
Right, and you always kept an eye on it.
I'll bet.
No, but I really do that. You encompassed us. You embraced us as your
Well,
responsibility.
you were great to have around.
I know, and I'm not denying that. I just want you to really hear that everybody was saying that you really have made a difference and that you really made an effort in each of our lives to be supportive and loving and you cared, you know, and you're worried.
And you still are.
You
All
still
of
do
those
that.
things.
And I
To
think
all
a
of
lot
us.
was because I was worried about that.
Right, but you did that. Not everybody did that. You're the
But you're
one-
still doing it. Dad's not here. So
I
it's
don't
got
know.
something to do with you, honey.
You have to just let us, we're all saying the same thing, so just consider that we might have some part of it that's true.
Okay. What bottom line means we still need you. We still want
Oh, really?
you. Yep, we still want you and we need you and we love
Did
you.
we, something we said, Phil, or you just leave it?
Yeah.
You don't want to learn the new dance?
If you only
Oh, the new
We
dance?
gotta see that first joke.
Okay.
Okay, show us.
Okay.
show you. Come on, Joan. Jill has a dance. Come here, Joan.
To learn, I don't know it.
I'm not getting up. You know it. Join.
We're going to show you
Called the what?
the floss.
Okay.
It's called the floss.
This dance with Jill.
Do we have to have music?